told you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another reaction video. I'm feeling better, if anyone's gonna ask. Not too, uh, well, hmm. Well, my case is, I'm feeling better than I was before, but I'm not exactly 100%. If I have to say anything, let me say like 90. I have a problem here and there, but other than that, nothing to really focus on. That prevents me from recording too much. I just need to watch how high my voice can go and how much I talk. I can talk in general, but I can't talk too much. It gets a bit screwy with my throat. So yeah, but other than that bit of news, today we are reacting to, did we get the Withered Animatronics wrong this entire time? Now, for those that don't know this little tale, supposedly, and this is just stuff I've heard from other people, in all honesty, so I can't say for sure if this is a true fact or not, because as I said, I just heard it from a secondhand source, not the primary source. And it's, from what I heard, is that when Scott was making, well, was in direct control of how the games and the movies were gonna go, he decided to fix some stuff up because of what happened with Security Breach. And in Ruin, too, since there wasn't that much. Well, it didn't follow his vision of what he wanted the game to go for. Will go towards. So he decided to do some stuff, make sure that we actually have a guideline to follow, and all this and all that. And supposedly being said that there is some stuff in outside sources that are gonna, outside of the games that is, that will help us solve the mystery of FNAF. It's just, well, we gotta find them. And one of those sources was actually the more recent FNAF 2 movie. So supposedly, Scott just, yeah. Supposedly there was stuff that Scott put into the film that we were supposed to figure out and put together. And they were supposedly big stuff. One thing for sure was the fact of the Withered Animatronics. And that being said, being shown that the Withered Animatronics and the animatronics that we saw in the first movie are two separate things. Which, if we follow the guidelines onto that, supposedly that would mean that the same should be for the games. That the animatronics from the first game and the animatronics that we saw in the second game, the Withers and the ones, the originals, I guess, are basically two separate models, which leads to a lot of stuff now being open because of this detail. Since that would mean that the Freddy we saw in the third, well, that is to say, first game is the third model of Freddy. Since Withered Freddy is modeled 2.0. The one we saw in the FNAF 1 game is 3.0. If we follow all the clues, hints, and all that within the movie, when it comes to the animatronics, then yes. Supposedly, the Freddy we see in FNAF 1 is not Withered Freddy. And we're going to go into Twisted Animatronics discussion on that, because this is something interesting. So I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you do enjoy it. Hit the notification button, be notified immediately when the video comes out. Subscribe to support the channel and all that. In the in the comment section below. It's been a while, and me being sick did not help me. But yeah, in the comment section below, if there's any videos you'd like to recommend that I should react to, then put it down there and I'll react to it as soon as possible. But yeah, and in the description below is going to be the link to this video, so if you want to check out the original video, go ahead and look in the description, and be sure to give Twisted Animatronics some love and support for the video that they made that I'm reacting to. Now with this all said, let's get started, shall we?
What if I told you that the FNAF 2 movie just solved one of the oldest debates in the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom, and most people didn't even notice? Yep, the Withered Animatronics, their origins, their purpose, and how they actually connect to the missing children. The movie actually clears all this up. It goes without saying, this video contains spoilers from the FNAF 2 movie, so if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it and come.
Very true. That is a true case. If you haven't seen the FNAF 2 movie, I suggest not watching. But it supposedly, I heard that it should be out on OBS and all. No, not OBS. OBS isn't editing software. I don't know. I think it's out on Paramount or something like that. I don't know for sure. But if you haven't seen the film yet, I suggest you go ahead and do that before seeing this video. But yeah.
Coming back to this, because it is a question long-term fans and new fans need answering. And today I'm breaking down exactly how the film finally settles the Withered Animatronics debate. And not only that, Shadow Bonnie, that's now been solved. The Michael debate, and what this all means for the future of the franchise. Buckle up, this is going to be a wild one. Before we dive into what the movie actually fixes, let's quickly recap the debate that's been split in the fandom for almost a decade. And the question is simple. Are the Withered Animatronics actually possessed in any shape or form? And two camps emerged. Camp A, the Withereds, are the original possessed robots and the toys came later as replacements. Camp B, the Withereds were never tied to the kids. They were just scrapped older models. The games, books, minigames, everything provided hints, but nothing confirmed the timeline 100%. That is, until I come along. And
That is true. But I never knew about a debate saying that the missing children were not in the Withered Animatronics. That's an interesting thing to know.
FNAF 2 movie, along with Scott, and Scott being Scott, drops a mountain of visual lore breadcrumbs, and this is where things begin to click. You see, the movie reveals some key details, and the first one is the old models are directly linked to the missing children. And I mean by old models, I mean the ones we see in the FNAF 1 movie. I mean, that's pretty obvious. We know there's children's souls inside of the original animatronics from the FNAF 1 location. But if you stop and think for a second, these sets of murders, these children inside of the original animatronics from the FNAF 1 movie, come later. The FNAF 2 movie tells us that that pizzeria we see from the first film is the franchise location, and it came after the original. meaning William Afton must have committed other murders which we haven't seen. We know this to be the case because in the opening of the FNAF 2 movie, he's already taken another victim into the back room. And this is way before we have the set of souls linked to the original animatronics from the FNAF 1 location. Could it be that there's another set of souls inside of this FNAF 2 location and potentially in the Withereds? And if that was the case, the toys are clearly introduced after the murders. I mean, the movie emphasizes the company's pivot into safety and surveillance, exactly the narrative behind the toy line. The toys were retrofitted with facial recognition software, exactly like the games. We see this in full effect when Mike himself uses the Freddy Fazbear mask to trick their facial recognition software. And we know that the toys themselves are not possessed because they are being controlled by the puppet remotely, wirelessly. There's no children's spirits inside of them. And get this is an absolute huge lore drop here and a revelation. At the end of the movie, we know that the toys get destroyed by the original classics from the FNAF 1 location. I mean, the OGs ripped the toys to pieces, and this is it. This is the huge thing for me, in the film universe anyway, that shows the toys are not possessed, 100%, and never will be, is the fact that the OG animatronics start to break down because they're never meant to leave the pizzeria. Now, they have an opportunity here to inhibit new bodies. They could go inside of the toys. They are free to leave the pizzeria, and thus the spirits would continue living on in these newer toy animatronics. They have that opportunity to do so, but they don't. They don't go into these new toy animatronics. They just move on, as the kid says. Now, whether that's true or not is up for debate. I don't think they're actually going to move on anyway. I mean, the entire purpose of them still being alive is because William Afton is still alive, right? And they can't move on until their souls have come to peace, to rest, and that's not going to happen with William Afton still on the lodge. They know this. So I don't believe they've moved on, but they haven't possessed the toys at this stage either. But either way, they need new bodies, new suits to be inside of. And this brings us back to the Withereds. Now, in the movie, they never actually reference them as Withereds. They don't even use that name. They call them the prototypes. You see, the Withered animatronics are explicitly described as prototype mascots that were used for spare parts and then abandoned in the original Freddy's location. Rather than the primary performers of the past era, they were the prototypes, never used. We're not done with the Withereds just there though, because I will come back to them. There's far more going on than a simple, oh, they were never possessed theory, trust me. But we do know that the originals from the FNAF 1 movie and the Withereds are existing at the same time. Thus, that solves a huge debate in the fandom. The FNAF 2 movie is trying to tell us that the Withereds/prototypes are completely separate animatronics, and they have no connection to the MCI, right? Solves the debate. But really? You see, now the children's spirits have left the OG animatronics from the...
No, now that I'm looking at the Withered animatronics, and it's been a while since I actually recorded a FNAF video, so I don't really remember the last few things from the more recent FNAF videos that I did a reaction video for, but it's kind of strange now that I'm looking at it, and I realize that when it comes to the suits of the animatronics, they're both completely different. So
FNAF 1 location.
yeah,
They clearly don't go inside of the toys, and there's only one set of animatronics we know now which are operational and active. That's right, the Withereds. The toys are now completely dismantled, the OGs are destroyed due to age, and the only thing left operational they could literally inhibit or inhabit is the Withereds. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, right? But continue to hear me out here, because this now goes into the FNAF 3 movie. You see, now the souls have gone into the Withereds, this is where William Afton, or the franchise holders themselves, take the Withereds and do connect it to the games. They use them Withereds for parts in a new Freddy's, or even better, melting down the Withereds, melting down the OGs, even the toys, to create the sister location animatronics, the Fun Times. That would then link up with the game's lore and timeline, well, kind of, in creating the Fun Times. Because now they will have the MCI spirits inside of the Fun Times. This way, there's no other spirits involved. It is just simply the set of kids we see throughout the entirety of the movie timeline. You see, this matches up with the game's lore, well, kind of. We know that William Afton melts down the OGs from the original location, because we see that in the minigame. He literally lures all the animatronics to the back room where he dismantles them, melts them down into liquid metal, obviously still infused with the children's souls, and builds the fun times with them. The only issue with this theory is, though, if we use it for the movie universe, we know William Afton at this stage is now locked in the Spring Bonnie costume and is Springtrap. The movie is setting up FNAF 3, but that alone wouldn't be enough to make an entire movie on. There has to be something else in there, and that's where I think sister location is going to come into play. And you're probably thinking, well, how? How can this happen? William Afton's in Springtrap. Well, you forgetting something? The ending of the FNAF 2 movie? Michael seemingly has disappeared into the ether. He gets knocked out by that big black guy, and then all of a sudden, he's gone. Poof. But he wants to continue his father's work, and he can do so in sister location. We know in the games we play as Mike in sister location. In the movies, Mike could be in sister location himself. He could be the one who, in the movie universe, well, the movie timeline, he could be the one who takes all them animatronics now and melts them all down, continuing his father's work. We know at the end of the FNAF 2 movie, he's already controlling the toys. He's already controlling animatronics. He could now use the animatronics laying around, the Withereds, the OGs, the toys, to build the fun times. There is a problem with this, however. We do see Circus Baby complete in the dream sequence with Vanessa and Afton. But there's something huge about this scene here, and I've gone back to double check. You see, I went back to see whether Circus Baby had blue or green eyes during this sequence. And you might be thinking, well, why does that make a difference?
The difference with that one is that, well, Circus Baby eyes depend if it's possessed or not. If it's blue, that means it's still the robotic version. If it's green, then we knew that it was Elizabeth in possession of Circus Baby. Besides, it's not a complete issue with Circus Baby actually being active, because supposedly Elizabeth has complete control over Circus Baby, meaning that it has to be before the the versions of Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Foxy that are possessed. Those still are still around and aren't torn down or melted down and just put into, well, melted down and turned into robotic parts for the sister location animatronics. But when it comes to Circus Baby technically was before even that. So, yeah.
Oh, believe me, it makes a huge difference. Circus Baby, when she was first built by Afton, had blue eyes. Blue. When she literally takes his daughter Elizabeth, which in the movie universe doesn't exist, is Vanessa, when she takes her, when I mean by take her, literally grabs her and pulls her into her chest cavity, killing her, Elizabeth then possesses Circus Baby, and her eyes go from blue to green. Now, there's no Elizabeth in the movie universe. She's obviously replaced by Vanessa, but could that be where FNAF 3 is going? Vanessa is going to get had by Baby, because when we see Circus Baby in that dream sequence, her eyes are blue, indicating there is no possessed baby animatronic at this point in time. Her eyes signify this. It also tells us that Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals hasn't opened or hasn't happened yet. He's only built the baby animatronic. This would leave room for Mike to come in and finish his father's work by constructing the fun times, if they want to go down that route anyway. This would keep things extremely clean for newcomers to the franchise, because there's only one set of spirits then, and we're continuing that trend, and they've been forced to go into these fun time animatronics by Mike. Well, sorry, Michael Afton. Otherwise, the entirety of the FNAF 3 movie would literally just be in that one haunted house attraction with Springtrap in. There isn't enough content there for that movie to just survive on that alone. Sister location has to come into it, and that's how I believe they're going to keep things quite clean by doing the storyline I just said. The movie now confirms several things for us if we want to use that as lore to help solve the games. That the prototypes slash withers are completely separate to the animatronics we see in the 1993 location, and as such were never haunted. But I'm going to reserve judgment on that until the FNAF 3 movie comes out, because I really want to see what they're going to do with these children's souls. Have they now just disappeared? I don't think so. I think the best way to use the movie is like supporting evidence, but never entirely evidence by itself. Let's use the movie to support things from the games. But what do you think? Does the movie actually solve the Withers? Were they never possessed to begin with, but can be at a later date? Which sounds mad, I know, but that's the only way I can see it happening. What do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on this in the comment section below, because this has been a debate in the fandom for well over a decade. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hype it to get it out to fellow FNAF fans so we can have a big debate on this. Massive thanks to the Fazbear Entertainment employees who are on screen now. Lauren, Amet Jr. Tapia, Renamon,
Okay, let's call that it. So, we got everything that, So we got the details on what's going on. We know for sure that with the information of before the movie came out, that Scott is trying to put everything back together and put everything on track and not make it like a confusing mess, in trying to tell the story of everything. This also leads to a new interesting thing, because now we know for sure that the toy and the Wither animatronics were all animatronics that were not possessed. So yeah, though it might be the case that since Afton was around the pizzeria that FNAF 2 was in, well, the pizzeria of FNAF 2, it could have made Charlie decide to activate the toys and the Wither animatronics to deal with William on her own. Yeah, that's the only one that really comes to mind. Wait, actually, hold on. There's actually 2 animatronics that... Huh. Now we have an issue. Because there's a certain duo of animatronics that haven't been covered. And that is Golden Freddy and Wither Golden Freddy. And I know they're both different because Wither Golden Freddy honestly looks more beat up and more worn down, while Golden Freddy is more ironically newer looking. Like, if I had to compare the two, one looks more newer and cleaner, and the other one just looks more worn down. But besides the point, we have an issue now, and that's it. Because that means... Huh. I wonder how they're going to use that animatronic in the movies. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you did. Tell me your thoughts on this video in the comment section below. I'd like to hear your opinion. But here's my thoughts on the film. FNAF 2 was a good movie. Not bad. If I had to say the differences between the two, the first movie and the second one actually provided a bit more of a scare in truth. Something that, I mean, like, the first movie didn't have. I mean, come on, we're in a franchise that's about horror and jump scares. At least the second movie actually fulfilled that role. But I think the first one is more liked by others, mainly because of all the, well, Easter eggs and that talking about the community, past theories, um, jokes, and all that. And probably that more well-known FNAF community members are known for it. Like say, like um, people that played the game and all that, and they didn't really have that many people joining in this time around. But some people just have things they have to commit to, and they can't really join in on something like this. Maybe for the third film. Maybe for the third film. I mean, it does leave some stuff out because it is going to be a bit interesting to see how they do uh, the third game location. It's going to be really interesting, in all honesty. Anyway, again, hope you all enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be sure to see you all in the next video. Bye.